This video has been made to accompany the Bergen & Bath Needle Felted Spring Lambs Kit. Here's what you get inside. 2 needle felting needles, 40 gauge triangular, 4 4mm eye pins, 30 grams of English top wool, 10 grams roughly of Herdwick grey wool, and you also get some merino in pink and black. And you get these instruction cards, photographic step-by-steps, with a template as well for you to shape your model, and a needle felting basics card for total beginners.
Hi, it's Rach and I'm here to show you how to make a sweet spring lamb from our needle felted spring lamb kit. This is the cream one and I'm going to show you how to make the grey one. So first of all, you've got your English top wool. There's 30 grams in your box and you're going to split it into roughly 3 10-gram lengths. So find the place where you want it to split. And then you're going to pull the wool. Now, if you tug it like this close together, it's never going to tear. So move your hands a bit wider and pull gently and the fibres should separate. Put 2 pieces aside and take one of those third lengths. And then just tug at one end and you'll pull off a piece about that long. That's about 2.5 grams. We're going to repeat and do that again. Adjust your hands until it tears gently. And now you have 1 long piece and 2 smaller pieces. Your long pieces for your body and your smaller pieces for your head and your forelegs. So take one of those smaller pieces and start wrapping it around your finger, keeping the fibres straight. You want to keep this just above your first knuckle if you can, or just covering it, but no longer than that. And then wrap the ends really smooth over the scrunch of wool and pull it carefully off your finger. Twist it a little bit. You don't want it to unravel. And then place that on your sponge and that's going to be your little head. So if you pick up one of your needles, and this is barbed and it will tangle up the fibres inside and make them cling to each other and felt together. So start poking and make sure that you don't poke in the same place twice. A few stabs and then turn it slightly. Keep on poking and try not to poke anywhere near your fingers or you'll find that that will hurt. Keep on poking. You can help to just hold one end so that you're nowhere near where you're stabbing. And for now, we're just making sure that it doesn't unravel and it holds its shape. You can see that the thinned part of the needle is where the barbs are. So rest one finger just above that. And then we can do the side. If you work up from the centre, curving the wool as you go, this will help create a nice soft shape, rather than just stabbing the top, which creates a ridge and makes it flat at the top, which we don't want that. So tuck those fluffy ends in and then just patiently and slowly start to shape one end of the ball. Keep on turning it so that you can match that curve. I'm going to speed this up for you because this takes about 10 minutes. I'm going to do the other side in the same way. If you look at that top right corner there and you create the curve that you want with your needle and then turn and match, that helps you create a lovely round even shape. And then just going to keep felting, firming up your head. And don't worry too much about how perfect this looks because we're going to be covering it with fleece later. When you're happy with the shape, you can put it on one side and take the larger piece of wool that you pulled off earlier and let's wrap that around the finger in the same way. This time it can extend over that second knuckle and be a little bit more sausage shaped. This is going to be the body. So smooth those ends round and carefully pull it off your finger. It may start to unravel a little bit like this, which is fine. We're just going to tuck that in with our needle so that it doesn't unravel too much. And then we're just going to do what we did with the head. I've sped this up. You can obviously pause and carry on with yours in your own time, but work all over it. Here you can see I've been felting for about 10 minutes. You don't want it to be fully solid. You want to have a little bit of air in it so that when you squish it, your core shapes have some flexibility and some movement to be continued sculpting. And also so that you can add the elements together, which we're going to do now. So if you place the head onto the body, choose an angle that you like, and then you're going to stab firmly and precisely up from the body into the head and down from the head into the body along that join. Turn it over and do the other side as well. You want to work from all the angles. I'm going to speed this up again. Down from through the head, all around the back, around the front, and just keep on poking firmly and securely to make the two pieces bond together. It's really quite easy. If you're not happy with the position, you can just pull it off and add it again. Now we're going to draw a line around the forehead about where you want the fleece to come, and where the face is going to start, just to give you a little guide later when you start adding the wool fleece. Continue the line over the top of the head and down the other side by stabbing quite firmly to create a ridge. And then once you've done that, just work on the face a little bit, just to narrow that down a tiny bit and firm it up a little bit more, and keep the back of the head quite fluffy. And then we're going to make the legs. So if you take the other short piece that you pulled off, divide it evenly into two pieces, and then divide each of those into two halves. You want your leg lengths to all be roughly the same, or as close as you can get it. So divide the other side as well, so that you've got 4 pieces that are as close as you can get them. And we're going to wrap this around your needle. So take the fluffy ends and wrap them securely around the thick end of your needle. Keep on wrapping. You don't want that to unravel, so take a good firm hold of that tufty end. And then we're going to start wrapping, keeping the fibres straight, don't twist them. Imagine you're wrapping hair around a roller, or you're putting a bandage on. You don't need to pull this too tightly, actually. You just want it to be a nice even shape all over. So if it's looking a bit strange, unwrap it and go again. And keep going till the very end of the very last fibre. Put your hand on that sharp end of the needle. And then pop your needle into your mat and carefully slide it down. Make sure you let go of the little first bit that you were holding on to. And then let's tuck that in so it doesn't come out. And just carefully felt the top there. Turn it on its side, and then we're just going to felt all over the leg. Now, if you've wrapped it well and you've kept the fibres smooth, this should be quite straightforward. So you just need to watch your fingers. I only felt in the very centre and then turn it. If you are a bit accident prone, it might be worth putting plasters on your fingers here. And then do both ends until you're happy with the shape, and hold it up against your model. And if you're happy, then you can make 4. And it's a good idea to pair them up. So I've got 2 that are slightly longer. They're going to go at the front. And to do that, you have to just hold them together. It's a bit fiddly. You want to do it like this so that you can see the position in the, that it's not too central on the body, that it's to one side. And see how quickly that's actually stuck. So now we're just going to turn it on the side and felt along the join. And there's still quite a bit of air in my model because I've still yet to add all of the fleece. So it will get firmer as we go. And I'm just going to keep felting all around the edge of that leg and up through the leg as well. I'm going to repeat to add all 4 legs, and take your time. I've sped it up again for you, so it's just to save watching time. Keep checking that they don't move, because sometimes when you're working on the side they can move around a bit. So if they do and you're not happy with the position, you can just pull it off and reattach it. Keep on going, check each one is securely attached and that they all are about the same length, so your model will stand up independently like this. At the beginning, you put aside 2 lengths of the cream wool. If we pick up one of those lengths now and open it up, and I'm tearing up a wisp of that fibre from the very end of the length, and because the fibres are all the same length, it's very difficult to make them shorter. So what we do is we're just going to pull and tear and mash them up, rub them in your fingers. This takes a little time, so that the fibres are all lying in a mishmash, all in different directions, and this will give you the neatest finish. So you just need a tiny patch like this, and we're going to place this over the nose of the lamb, and this is just going to hide any little imperfections that you've made with your needle. So just very, very gently with the tip of your needle, poke this onto the face. You don't want to be changing the shape here, so you're just tapping it very lightly. Again, I've sped this up for you to save time, but take your time and just attach that until you've got a nice smooth finish. Let's take a wisp of the black merino, a tiny, tiny wisp, and we're just going to twist it like this, and it helps to lick your fingers actually to make that strand. We're going to use this to make the nose and the mouth of the lamb. So tug off the ends firmly until you've got a very short length that you're happy to work with. Get rid of any wispy bits, and then you're going to place this across the centre of the face, and with a firm jab in the centre you can attach it. Now, holding one side, just very gently and with firm, precise stabs, you're going to attach that in a curved V shape to make the nose, and tuck in the ends, just poke firmly, and those fluffy ends will disappear inside. Now, carefully, without pulling it off, work on the other side. So go up to the corner where you want it to finish, and then bring back any excess wool, any tufts with the edge of your needle. It's almost like drawing with the needle, and then firmly poke that in. You can drag down the front of the V with the needle. So I'm resting my little finger on the model for precision. It does help. And just keep on poking. Now, if you add this and you've used a too large piece of wool and it looks too clunky, simply pull it off and add another. So we need another slightly longer length to do the mouth. Again, attach it in the centre first, and holding one half, we're going to firmly poke. Again, I'm resting my little finger for precision. Poke the ends in and just work along there so that you're curling it up at the ends. And now we want to make sure that the other side is the same distance away, so that it's even on both sides. And again, poke those fluffy ends in. We're going to adjust by poking up at each side and then up in the middle slightly too. Take another tiny wisp, roll it in your fingers. It can be slightly longer than the gap, and then just poke it in the centre of the nose. You almost want to use the side of the needle, very, very small, precise stabs. Tuck the fluff in. So take your time. And we're going to join the nose to the mouth with this little strand. Work down and then into the upturned centre of the mouth. Poke the fluffy ends in, and that gives you a really cute little smile. Now we're going to add some blush to his cheeks. I've taken a tiny bit of the pink merino wool, and again I've torn it up and made a mesh, a sort of a very, very faint patch. I don't know that sheep actually do blush, but I think it adds a bit of character to the model. So just again, we're attaching this to the cheek with the very, very tip of the needle, just to give a little faint hint of pink on his cheeks. And then do the same on the other side as well, and felt all over to make sure that all of the fluffy ends have been attached. Now let's find a place for the eyes. It takes a little bit of time, You want to try some different positions, and then when you feel happy, push the needle all the way in, watch your fingers, all the way in, keep an eye on the hole, and then you're going to slide the eye pin in. And then let's make a hole on the other side to match. Keep those fingers out of the way. Give it a good wiggle so that you make a nice hole. Now, if you've over felted your face, this will be very hard. So it's one of the reasons why we don't over felt at this stage. And another thing you can do is you can pop some glue on the ends of those pins when you're happy with the position of the eyes. So from your extra length of wool that we put aside at the beginning, tear off a small thin length like this, and divide that in half so that you've got 2 even lengths. This is going to be for the ears. They want to be about that long. There's plenty of extra wool, so if you make them and they're not quite right, you can always make another pair. If you rub it in your palms like this, you get rid of the fluff, and this makes the ear much easier to felt. Fold it in half to make a loop, and then place your loop on your mat and hold it firmly between 2 fingers, your thumb and your finger. And then we're going to flat felt that with just the tip of the needle. You don't want to be crushing this into the sponge. I see lots of people doing this at workshops, and that would just make the shape distort, and you'll end up with loads of fluff on the other side. So really we're just tapping it gently, just to make those fibres start to felt. I'm going to speed this up again. It takes a little bit of time. Remember to peel it off and do the other side as well. If you've got loads of fluff coming out the other side when you turn it over, then what you want to do is just tap much more lightly, really with just the tip. You can work on the edges, but if you've rolled that in your hands, you shouldn't have too fluffy edges. They should be nice and smooth. And it can help to pinch the base of the ear where you want to attach it to the head to help create the shape. Now, sometimes you have a little gap, a little thin area in the loop, so you can tear up a little patch and apply that there. Again, just using that 3rd length of wool that we kept aside earlier for padding. Use that to bring a little tuft, create a little tuft. And just work all over that until you're happy with the shape. You want your ears to be quite sturdy. You don't want them to be falling apart. And when you've made 2, you can add some pink in the centre. Take a little tuft of pink again. Tear up the fibres, just as you did for the cheeks. And it can help to roll them into a little shape that will fit inside your ear. Doesn't need to be perfect. Place it in like that, and then again, very, very lightly, let's attach that to the inside of the ear. Now, if you push too firmly and down into the mat, you'll push that pink fibre through the ear and out the other side. So you want to avoid that by just tapping very gently. Once you've made your pair of ears, let's place them on the head. So put it roughly where you want it, and then a few firm stabs will hold it in place. It's a good idea to check the position, make sure that you're happy, and then you can firmly felt it all over. Now, we're going to be covering this with fleece later, so it doesn't need to be the perfect join, as long as you're happy with the position. And then when you add the second one, make sure it's about the same length and the same position on the head. And again, let's firmly felt that. It does help to fold the ear when you attach it at the base to give it a little bit of shape. Our lamb's got some droopy ears here, but I think that looks really cute. Yeah, he looks like a baby. So now it's time to add the fleece. If you pick up your grey wool and you want to break it into short lengths and then tear from the side small strips like this. And then we're going to anchor it on the front of the sheep. Just tuck those tufty ends in. And then start to twist the wool so that it curls back on itself. and then you can felt those curls in place. Keep on twisting. This can be a bit fiddly when you're holding your needle, so it helps to put the needle down. And do it with both hands. And licking your finger helps too. And you can position the curls where you want them. And then when you're felting, try to felt in the gaps rather than flattening those nice curls that you've made. Keep on twisting. And a few pokes is all it takes to attach your fleece. When it comes to the end, you can just twist that into a little curl. It's nice to have some larger and some smaller curls all over the fleece. Looks a little bit more realistic. Let's anchor a second piece on the other side of the leg and repeat that same process. Keep on twisting and curling the wool and anchoring it around the body, and every time you come to the end, take up another short piece and attach it next to the last one. I've sped this up for you. It takes quite a bit of time, so it's a bit boring to watch, but have a play around with what you like as you go, and adding little lengths between the legs and around the legs can also make the legs a bit stronger. So as you're doing it, make sure you're not repositioning the legs and that they're staying straight, and keep checking that he stands up as you're working. When it comes to doing the curls of the fleece around the forehead, start at one side and see if you can work out that line that you made earlier. It can be a bit tricky, but the fleece wants to come in front of the two ears. So it helps to kind of create that front of the hairline first and then fill in behind it. So keep twisting just as you have been before. And lick your fingers so you get some nice, neat little curls. You don't want it to be too thick and heavy around his face. I quite like these little curls. And again, just add them gently in the gaps, just a little way above his eyes. Let's speed things up. Make sure you go behind the head as well and all around the back. And take your time to work all over your lamb's wool, all over the fleece, tucking in any fluff, and if it's a bit wonky or you have any large lumps or little gaps and dips that you want to fill in, you can just make more twists and more curls and pad him out. If you want him to be really round and plumpy, then just keep adding layers until you're happy with the shape. Take a small tuft of black merino wool and roll it in your fingers until you have a rough ball. Place this on the end of one of the legs, and using the tip of your needle, just poke it gently around the edge to sort of draw a circle. This can be a good opportunity to add a bit of stability to your lamb. So if one of your legs is too short, you can make some of the feet larger than the others, which can really help. Feel free to adjust your lamb's head position at this stage by poking firmly into the neck area, and your lamb is finished. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and if so, have a go at making the cream lamb using exactly the same steps and the wool that we pulled off at the beginning. Have fun!